Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like new evidence has arrived that the state and the Fed, the central planners, they hate you. As right here, the governor of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, Adrian Orr, laughs and gloats that it's a great business to be in, central banking, where you print money, people believe in it, you make people poor, suffer, you increase poverty, and then you have the gall to laugh at it. We're going to break down this clip, look at that, and also some important macro data painting a bit of a grim picture, but Bitcoin is standing strong at 49K and just getting started. There's also a historic thing Bitcoin did this cycle that it has never done before. We get a lot to cover. Let's get it.
Party, that party. Come and have a good time with G.O.D.
All right, let's take a look at this.
The fiscal challenges, etc., that are there. So very focused on being cost effective. We actually fund ourselves and then work out what dividend is needed to pay. So we kind of it's a great business to be in, central banking. You print money and people believe it, and touch wood. So it's a slightly different beast.
Yeah, I like that he referred to it as a slightly different beast, a beast, something that is evil, that siphons the wealth from the public, that leeches off the work of everyone else, that portrays itself as some group of people with expertise when they have no ability. All they do is print money, and none of that benefits us. None of that benefits middle America. None of that benefits anyone in the lower income stream. That destroys them. And throughout history, it has destroyed the middle class. This is what it does. This is what these people do, and they laugh at it. They enjoy it. They relish in this stuff. Eventually, it looks like their jib is going to be up. Global debt now $307 trillion. That is 336% of global GDP. That should be fine. That's what they're going to tell you. Now we got to think about, why has it been for over a century the issue of money has been totally absent from the discourse in politics? In school, when you went to school, did you learn about central banking? Did you learn about the Fed? Did you learn about, well, the income tax wasn't here until 1913. None of us heard of that aside from probably the Ron Paul campaign of 08, 2012, unless you had predisposition, a good family, that was understood maybe the gold standard, sound money and things, so they teach you those things. But in the public, no, it had to be self-taught. They don't teach you that in college. My degree is in political science and education. Not once in there did they break down the Federal Reserve System. And aside from Ron Paul, we do have some in modern history. We have Vivek, Josh Smith, RFK as some candidates spreading that message of sound money and what that means. But it's almost as if we're supposed to believe that this system is supposed to exist as much as like the air we breathe. Its existence is necessary. Far from it. Yellen, the Fed, Jay Powell, they operate in mystery, yet somehow we're supposed to trust these people. Maybe I'm being cynical. Of course it couldn't be that experts running the monetary system who have an interest in perpetrating their rigged game are giving us bad advice and putting us into oblivion. No, that wouldn't be, right? Because they need catastrophe and disaster for them to be relevant to come in and save everyone from the problems that they created. That's just preposterous, right? But the results couldn't be more obvious. We have fentanyl zombies littering the streets, record homelessness, record people needing multiple jobs just to stay afoot, and not to mention you have people in Canada literally choosing to no longer exist on this planet, and they're citing poverty as the main issue. Poverty that the sick people we showed you laughing in the intro created and caused. Even Jamie Dimon believes the U.S. debt the most predictable crisis in history, and he is not wrong. How are we supposed to be expected to place trust in a system that is centralized? The Federal Reserve, we can't audit it. Even if Jay Powell was some sort of mega mind genius, it's likely that we're reaching the point that the Fed cannot stop the collapse. We might need to start asking ourselves, what if economic law cannot be defied, like gravity? And if so, this is a reality likely going to hit us, the people, the U.S., people everywhere like a tidal wave. Rate cuts coming will just be like an umbrella protecting you from falling boulders. And then take a look at this. In the dead of night, the Senate passes a $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. This is absolutely incredible. But you know what? Congress couldn't get away with spending beyond their means day in and day out, year in and year out, if we didn't have the Fed and the money printer to finance it by purchasing bonds with money they create out of thin air. We got to look at where we are in the story. Look at this. This is America, okay? This week, the House will vote on whether the U.S. government must get a warrant, must follow the Constitution to search through your private communications that are collected in the digital dragnet used to surveil quote-unquote foreigners, and this landmark vote will absolutely show what members of the government represent the people or foreign interests or the banking international cabal. History doesn't always repeat, but it does rhyme, and we can see throughout history where collectivism leads. It only took one generation of progressive leadership to absolutely destroy Venezuela and plunge it into civil war. This is what money printing, currency debasement, and collectivist politics is what it all leads to. But impressive. In the face of all this, NASDAQ, Dow, everything took a dive, but Bitcoin stood strong after hitting 50K after a massive pump, came down to 48, retested, looks like it has bound support at 49. But this is interesting. In the history of Bitcoin, never has it had a golden break before the halving, which makes us think maybe this time is different. And shout out to Tone Vase, who projected that at around 50K before the halving, there would be a massive run up, possibly all-time highs before the halving. And I think that everyone is waking up to this fact. There is massive accumulation from the Bitcoin ETFs. Blackrock and Fidelity now, just between the two, own a combined 171,705 Bitcoin. They, between the two of them, almost have 1% of the total supply. That's about 8.3 billion for their ETFs already. It's just now starting the second month of the ETFs being live. What's going on? I think everyone's looking to flee to quality. Let today's episode be an example. Let's do a shout out to the great Hans Hermann Hoppe. Don't put your trust in democracy, but neither should you trust in a dictatorship. Rather put your hope into radical political decentralization, i.e., Bitcoin. Hey, looking to get started in Bitcoin? Need to get your Bitcoin off exchanges? Want to learn how to take self-custody and follow best practices? Well, we got just the guys to get you covered. Simply Bitcoin Originals are powered by the Bitcoin Way, your IT team in the Bitcoin world, here to help you take charge of your financial future. Whether you need help with wallets and nodes, inheritance planning, accepting Bitcoin payments, and much more, they've got you covered. Looking to get started? You can book a free 30-minute call with the Bitcoin Way using that link below. Man, I hope you guys like this one. And don't miss some of the recent news. The supply shock that will melt all our faces is afoot. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share that sound money gospel, and be sure to follow us on Twitter for all the latest breaking news. Keep tuning in to Simply Bitcoin, your #1 stop for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.